Hi all, I'm Justin from Gallant IAS Academy. In this video, we will do a very quick and easy analysis of 2024 mains papers, GS 1, 2, 3, 4. So starting with the GS 1 and 2. And let me tell you why this analysis is important. Because the major takeaways of this analysis gonna be highly helpful for your mains 2025. Because UPSC follows a pattern, UPSC follows a trend. Understanding that will definitely help you in the upcoming mains. If you randomly approach mains, that will be out of your control. So have a clear cut idea why the questions are asked, how the questions are asked, what all the themes you have to take care. So let's just start this analysis. Starting with this GS1 paper. GS1 paper comparatively, it was a good paper, a moderate paper. GS1, we know that there is General Studies paper 1, paper 2, paper 3, paper 4, etc. Essay paper, optional papers and qualifying papers, etc. So GS1, there we have this culture, okay, we have this modern history, we have this freedom struggle, we have this world history, okay, we have this post-independence, we have this geography, we have this society. These are the major themes or modules from this GS1 General Studies paper 1. So if you look into this, this is a 2024 General Studies paper 1 question paper. Just to see these questions from Indian culture and heritage. There is a question on this Rigvedic comparison, economic societal comparison between RVC, LVC, Pallavas of Kanchi, Cholas. So you see around three questions asked from this art and culture. Three questions are there, two 10 marks questions and one 15 marks questions. So from this culture heritage, we would say 35 marks. Then from this modern Indian history, actually no questions. Freedom struggle, one question. So there is again from freedom struggle, one question. Post independence, again no question. World history, two questions, 15 marks each, so 30 marks. So from this history part, they asked around 75 marks questions, okay, history and culture. And from geography, they have around 4 plus 3, 4 10 marks questions and 3 15 marks questions. That means around 85 marks questions they asked here. Then from society part, 3 plus 4, 3 10 marks and 4 15 marks. That means 90 marks questions they asked. So this is, here just to try to understand that culture is something you shouldn't ignore. There are some core themes, recurring themes in culture and heritage which you shouldn't compromise. You must have, you must prepare templates for those cultural heritage themes. Similar way, the freedom struggle part also, you see there are lots of interlinkages with the current happenings of those things, okay, that I will tell you. Similar way, from this geography, from society, yes, there are lots of recurring themes are there, recurring topics are there which you shouldn't compromise, okay. Now just have a look into some questions. So this is something you can see that is comparing with the previous years, there is lesser questions from history and culture, only 75 marks out of 250. From geography, 85 marks. From society, 90 marks. But here UPSC always have some interdisciplinary approach. Sometimes, society clubbed with the social justice, or this clubbed with the culture. Similar way, geography can be clubbed with ecology. So this kind of the trends are also there. Let's have a look into some questions here. Yeah, there was a question which is like Cholas. The question on Cholas. Though the great Cholas are not more, yet their name is still remembered with a great pride because of their highest achievements in the domain of art and architecture. See, Cholas, they asked a question in 2013 and in 2022. And recently, you might have seen that there is installation of Sengol by Prime Minister in the new Parliament building, and this movie, Ponniyin Selvan movie, etc. So this something is in the news. Ponniyin Selvan or these Sengol installations, this Chola art architecture or Chola legacy was in the news. It has been debated by different historians and experts, last 2 years. Okay, so when there is some current affair relevance, of course there is a high probability that UPSC could ask their static questions. Okay, that is something the Cholas. Similar way, there was a question. You see that there is on this Rigvedic. I mean, Yes, underline the changes in the field of economic and societal changes from Rigvedic to later Vedic age. So this is something, a strict suggestion I used to make to students, that when you study Vedic age, of course, starting with the Aryan problem, you must cover the socio-economic, cultural, religious transition from RVC to LVC. It's a favorite topic for UPSC. Okay, socio-economic, political, cultural transition from RVC to LVC. Similar way, last year, 2023, they asked a question, that it is Rigvedic society religion comparing with the modern society and religion. So this has been again this Aryan invasion or Aryan migration, Aryan DNA, or its interlinkages with this, indigenous cultures, or Aryans versus Indus people. Lots of debates and discussions and DNA analysis. Lots of things are happening recently. So it's again very much clubbed with this current affairs, and of course UPSC asked a question from that. Similar way, there was a question on these Pallavas of Kanji. So similar, I would say that if you look into the previous year's questions, see this art and architecture of Pallavas, art and architecture of Vijayanagar, art and architecture of these Cholas, or art and architecture of these Hoysalas, or art and architecture of this what is called northern rulers. So this certain themes are there, which is built around these art and architectural contributions of certain Indian regional dynasties or kingdoms that you shouldn't compromise. Pala's contributions to Buddhism, or Pallava's art and architecture, Chola's art and architecture, Vijayanagar art and architecture. So there are some recurring themes that you shouldn't compromise. Similar way, coming to freedom struggle, there was a question on Quit India movement. What were the events that led to Quit India movement? It's a recurring theme. And recently there was a movie released, you might have watched, Evadan Merevadan. There was a movie released which was actually a biography on Usha Mehta, one of the prominent revolutionary leaders of this, known for those underground radio stations, operations and all. So it was released recently. Then there is lots of articles on this August Kranti, or maybe this, Quit India movement, its strategies, ideologies, etc. Okay, so since it was in the news, or it was very much linked with the current affair relevance, the question was asked here. Then coming to world history also, there was a question on this First World War. How far is it is correct to say that First World War was fought essentially for preservation of this balance of power? So you see that 2024 marks 110th anniversary of this World War One, and lots of debates, discussions, and articles on this World War One. Okay, and there are lots of debates on discussions on this. Yes, a predictability of this World War Three. So what all lessons we have to learn from World War One, World War Two, etc. So see, the students with the basic newspaper reading, this question is so much answerable. This is so much. If you know the basics, if you know the static content, and of course you please try to understand that even though these are static questions, if you are able to club them with this current affairs, then your answer will stand out. That will give an edge over others. Okay, this is the way. You might have seen different ways of introducing concluding answers. What are the dimensions you have to bring into the answers, even if it is static questions? Okay. Similar way, there was a question on industrial revolution. Okay, industrial revolution, India's industrial revolution almost completed 170 years with the very starting of this, cotton mills in India. There are questions on this Indian society, distinguish between gender equality, gender equity, women empowerment. Women empowerment, you must understand that it's a recurring theme from this Indian society. Similar way, there is intercaste marriages between caste. So this caste census, it has been a hot topic in the recent years, and they asked a question from that. Then there is a question on these NGOs. Then there is a question on this, what is called this regional disparity. So this was again Nidhi Aayog's recent reports and analysis. Based on that, there was a question clubbed with that a question. Similar way, yes, globalization. It's a recurring thing. A question from globalization. Then diversity topic. You see, critically analyze proposition that there is a high correlation between India's cultural diversities and socio-economic marginalities. So this is again a recurring theme in this, GS1 paper, society. Again, coming to this particular geography, what is a tister? What are majority of tisters observed? Why are majority of tisters observed in areas around this Gulf of Mexico. So this also a question linked with this very recent current event of this Jalpaguri disaster. So Jalpaguri disaster, if you have gone through this, yes, of course, you know the relevance of the question. Okay. Similar way, there was a question. The question is on demographic winter. So the same topic was asked in prelims examination. Recently, there are lots of debates on this. Several countries undergoing the concern of this lower birth rates and this, aging populations, etc. So this demographic winter was asked in prelims. So sometimes, prelims itself will give you some hints on these mains questions. Some questions which are asked in the, don't ever think that what all asked in the prelims would not be asked in the mains. There are several years the themes asked in prelims, they are asked in mains also. Yes, then there is a question on this, cloudburst. What is the phenomenon of cloudburst? Explained. Recently, we have seen there are lots of people killed in various cloudburst events in these Himalayas or Western Ghats regions, etc. Especially in this Himachal Pradesh, lots of people killed in this cloudburst. So, of course, you see that this is having so much relevance with this current affairs. Similar way, there are questions. There are questions on the sea surface temperature rise. So, lots of questions. I mean, be it geography or society, or it is culture, or it is history, lots of questions are asked, and they are having so much relevance with current events, current issues which you read in this last 2 years or 1.5 years newspaper. So please try to understand that most of the questions, especially in GS 123, please try to understand that they have so much relevance with the current affairs. Maybe yes, these things are in the news for the last 1 year or 1.5 year or 2 years, because of which UPSC asked a question from the static areas. Okay, so of course you should understand that newspaper reading or coverage of these current affairs have so much relevance in these prelims and to mains. That is something, the first takeaway you must have for this 2025 paper. So similar way, just go for the entire 20 questions. Okay, one thing I would say that there is lesser number of questions were from this history part, only 75 marks, but still don't take it for granted. UPC is always unpredictable. This year they asked a less number of questions, doesn't mean that next year also they should continue the same pattern. There is a probability that next year there are lots of questions from culture and history. Okay, lesser questions from geography and society. Okay, so the thing is that always take care, aspirants looking forward to give mains 2025, give due weightage to culture, heritage, modern history, freedom struggle, world history, post independence. Don't ever take it for granted. Okay, the core themes must be covered very well, and you must have answer practices also. Then you could see that there are lots of questions, they are connected with the current affairs. I already told you the relevance of reading newspapers covering current affairs, because they always give an insight or a hint into how the questions would be asked from the similar topics in the mains examination. Okay, similar way, there are lots of like easy questions here. Okay, I mean, this year 2024, if you look into this history, geography, society, so many easier questions are there. Last year or maybe previous years, you can see some questions were so difficult even to decode and understand the demand of questions, but this year comparatively questions were so easy. So here also you please try to understand that questions, questions UPSC asked, it doesn't mean that yes, it should be easy always, it should be difficult always. Okay, so you can expect both the easier questions, difficult questions, they always keep on changing the trend. A repetition of the themes are there. You see, there are lots of things. Climate change is there, women empowerment is there, caste is there, regionalism, globalization, urbanization, art, architecture, cholas, you see, groundwater, so many things. So many themes are, repeatedly asked. So I always say that you always prepare a template, for each of these themes. You must have, for example, this climate change, women empowerment, caste or marriage, regionalism, globalization, its impacts, urbanization, diversity, or all these teams, for all these teams, you must prepare separate templates for each, and enrich it with the current affairs, okay, data and whatever these, reports, etc. So what I am saying is that preparing templates for each, that will save your time, that will help you in your final exams. Then again, I would say there are certain areas which you feel that it is prelims only. For example, this Rigvedic, history of Aryans. There was a concept that it was prelims area only, so I won't prepare from mains perspective. But you see, they simply changed the trend here. Nowadays, last year, this year, UPC asked in the mains regarding this regulating society, culture, religion, economy. So you shouldn't be, very adamant with this style of preparation. Don't follow this, like many, 10 years back strategies and all. Don't ever categorize this is prelims, this is mains. Okay, please have an understanding of the recent trends. Accordingly, you cover these subjects for prelims and mains. Okay, don't ever distinguish it as it is for prelims only, it is for mains only. When you cover them, especially the culture part, when you cover them, cover simultaneously for prelims and mains. So these are the things which I would like to share with you regarding this paper one. It's always nice to prepare templates for each recurring theme. With these questions and previous questions, trend analysis, you will understand what are the recurring themes in culture, history, or this freedom struggle, or this society, geography, world history, etc. Prepare templates for each and also enrich them with examples, evidences, or the recent data, recent findings, etc. That will help you to save your time, that will help you to give a decent answer in the exam hall in the final round. Okay, so again, the recurring themes are there, shouldn't compromise. And whenever the questions are in the prelims, some current affair questions are in the prelims, also prepare templates for their mains part. Okay, that will save your time. So these things all of you take care regarding this paper one for your upcoming uh, 2025 mains examination.